Hi YouTube family. Today I want to talk about the narcissist, and a question is, does the narcissist suffer? And I think we think about this because, well, honestly, after a breakup, you kind of want the narcissist to suffer. Or after leaving a house where you were raised by a narcissist, you want to see a little payback. You want to see the person get caught by other people. You want other people to know who the narcissist really is, and you want the narcissist to be exposed. And if they're exposed for what they really are, they're going to suffer, right? Now, they may not suffer in that way because they may not get exposed because from what you can see from your vantage point, it looks like everybody continues to fall for all of their ruses and all of their traps. So they don't really know who the narcissist is. They just think the narcissist is a great guy or an amazing woman, and they're just taken with the narcissist. So we don't get to see them suffer from being exposed. But the narcissist does suffer. That's the answer. The answer is yes. Does the narcissist suffer? Yes. Yes, they do. Because they have feelings. I know that's the difference between, I think, the narcissist going into sociopathy or psychopathy. It's the psychopath doesn't care. He doesn't really have anxiety, probably doesn't have fears. I'm not quite sure that they have fears because they just, go forward and they wreak all kinds of damage on people's lives and destroy, kill, and, that's psychotic. But the narcissist that's functional, that's out there having relationship after relationship, that's, doing well in business or is a leader in their organization, and they're just a pillar of their community, but they're a narcissist, right? They actually have feelings like we do. They can feel insult. We know that, right? They can feel insulted. They definitely have low self-esteem because they're so easily insulted. That's the other thing is, because they have low self-esteem, it's real easy for them to get insulted. Now, it would take a really hardened person or a very thick-skinned person to not feel any insult after a barrage of insults come to you. But I'm talking about just regular insults will hurt a narcissist. Also, they do feel heartache. Yes, they actually feel heartache. They feel loss, especially when you leave, when you're the one who leaves them or discards them. You have abandoned them. And actually, again, that's a huge fear of the narcissist, is abandonment. So if they are scared of being abandoned, they're going to have those fears. They're going to suffer when they are abandoned. They're going to feel demolished, and they do retreat. They retreat back into themselves for a moment, and then they pump themselves back up, or they go find supply to stroke their ego to pump them back up. So, we want to know how they suffer. They suffer a lot like we do, but how do they respond to that suffering is really different than how we respond. And I wanted to share this part with you because there is actually a lot we can learn from the narcissist. We can learn from how they respond to their suffering. Now, I'm not talking about when they go out and they try to find new supply to stroke their ego to come back from being abandoned or being insulted. But what they do is they start to build up their own self-worth. They pump themselves up to be more worthy than other people. They start to view themselves and they convince themselves that they are more important than other people. So in a way, they have some healthy self-worth. They have an ego that carries them or brings them back up after someone insults them or hurts them. Now, they also seem to be more resilient than we are, because we're demolished. We can't move on to the next relationship right away. Or I guess if we're in a rebound, which is not good, so I don't recommend that. You do move into another relationship because you're trying to find healing in that way, and it doesn't work out because, anyway, you're not going in there with a wholeness in your heart, and you're not going in there healthy-minded. But the narcissist seems to be resilient. They just bounce right back up. They go into another relationship, and that other relationship looks like it's brand new. It's not going to be started with all kinds of damage. It's not going to be started with all kinds of hang-ups. It's going to be started by the narcissist starting a completely new chapter in their life. And we just wonder, how in the heck can they move on so quickly after they just abandoned you, right? They just left us. And suddenly they're in another relationship and they're on cloud nine. And even if we get into another relationship, we're still going to have hang-ups. We're still going to be somewhat drawn back, and we're still going to be healing. And it's going to be kind of obvious that we're not completely into the new relationship yet. We're kind of warming up to it. Whereas the narcissist is boom, they're in, and they're all in, and they're going to move forward as fast as they can with this next person, the new supply. Now, so that's two things right there that we can learn from the narcissist, right? They build up their self-worth again right away. They're very resilient. They come back and they jump right back into life. They don't try to carry the hang-ups with them into the next relationship. They pretty much write off the person that they just left or had just abandoned them. It might take them a moment to recover. They go into themselves, they build themselves back up, they find new supply that's going to cheer them on, and now they're back on cloud nine. Okay, another thing, the third thing that I noticed that a narcissist does that would be really great for us to learn is forgiving yourself. The narcissist forgives himself, forgives herself almost immediately. They don't carry around guilt, right? Not for long anyway. By the way, they do have some guilt. I know it's been said that narcissists don't have any empathy, but they do have guilt. They will feel somewhat bad that, especially if the other person comes back at them and says, I can't believe you did this to me, and doesn't attack them. Now, if you attack them, then they attack you back and they feel justified in whatever they did to you. But if you don't attack them and you keep your calm and you keep your cool and you're still the solid, loving, caring person that you are, regardless of how the narcissist had strung you along or depleted you and smashed you into the ground, essentially, right? You feel like, oh my gosh, but you're still in love with the narcissist, so you're being kind and you're not being bitter towards them. They will feel guilty. They'll feel guilty for having hurt somebody who didn't retaliate, didn't hurt them back, didn't abandon them. And so I have seen this. I've seen this coming from a narcissist, and however, he forgave himself pretty quickly after that bit of guilt, and I don't think he ever came back to apologize to that person. So although he felt guilt, he didn't apologize, and then he just forgave himself and moved on, because that's what they do. They just move on. They recreate themselves. They reattach themselves to somebody else, or attach themselves to somebody else, and they go flying off with that person, leaving behind whatever is in their past, including you and other past relationships. Now, I've said in other videos before that the narcissist doesn't exactly let go completely of the supply they've had in the past, because they are somewhat nostalgic as well. So if they're nostalgic and they're remembering the good times with you and or good times with other supply that they've had, and the high points and the good things that came out of it for them that they're not getting from the current supply, they will suffer a little bit. They're going to feel loss, and they're going to feel jealousy, especially if you have moved on and you're happy and now you're giving your supply to another person. They're going to feel resentment and jealousy. So I know that a narcissist suffers, but just like we do, but they do seem to rebound pretty quickly. And that's those are the things that we can learn from the narcissist. But the best thing that we have an edge over the narcissist because we're not like them. We don't just focus on ourselves. We actually fall in love with another person. We actually, when we attach to the next person that comes into our life, we care and we empathize and we have compassion, and there is an actual possibility for us to grow as a person, and for our partner to grow as a person, and for us to grow together with our partners. While the narcissist is not growing together with their new supply, they're just existing, they're recuperating, they're bouncing back into life, but they're not connecting and pulling together and getting these deep relationships with their new supply. So there it is, YouTube family. You know now that the narcissist does suffer. If you had any questions before, you also know that you don't seem to think, we think that they don't suffer because it seems like they bounce back so quickly. It seems like they're so egotistical. They're so into themselves. They're always bragging about themselves and what their accomplishments. So they have some self-worth, and you see like they move on as if they don't feel any guilt and they don't apologize. So you think, what the heck, They pretty much just forgive themselves along the way. They don't really care whether you forgive them or not. They want to forgive themselves and move on. So these are the kinds of things that maybe we can learn from the narcissist to a certain extent, not to the narcissistic degree that they take it, but we do need to learn to have self-worth. We do need to learn how to be resilient, and we do need to learn how to forgive ourselves. So YouTube family, I hope that this video has been helpful, and I hope that you liked it. And if you did, please subscribe, please like it, and please comment below. Go ahead and also hit the bell next to the subscribe button if you don't want to miss any of my videos. So go out there and have a great day, YouTube family. I wish you lots of love and wholeness, health, and joy.